The NFL news crew's up and at 'em on a Monday with a number of new head coaches being introduced. The New York Jets ready for flight with their new head man, Aaron Glenn. The former Detroit DC now tasked with bringing to an end the longest playoff drought in the NFL. Glenn emphatically addressing the New York media, touching on any and all from locker room culture to a non-committal approach to Aaron Rodgers' future with the franchise.
To any players that's here now, put your seatbelts on and get ready for the ride. Put your seatbelts on and get ready for the ride. Listen, there are going to be some challenges, but with challenges becomes opportunity, gets opportunity. But here's what I do know. We're the freaking New York Jets, so we're built for this.
Oh, give me the good stuff. CBS Sports NFL analyst John Breech in with his reaction there and elsewhere. Breech, Jets fans implored to put on their seatbelts, but I fear it's been quite an up and down emotionally going on 15 years now. What did you find most interesting there from the opening statements of Aaron Glenn?
I mean, I'm pumped up right now, Musso. I'm ready to go tackle people on the street. That's how I felt about watching that Aaron Glenn. Look, if there was one coach who really sent out the vibes that he was excited to be there, was absolutely Aaron Glenn. And when you look at the New York Jets, this is a team that has not been good for a very long time. They haven't had a winning record since 2015. They haven't won a playoff game since 2010. They've been a total disaster for the past few years. They've been in a lot of disarray there. So the fact that they have someone who is absolutely fired up to take this job, that is a net positive. I mean, Aaron Glenn looks ready to absolutely embrace the challenge of turning this organization around, of riding the ship and getting them back to the postseason where they haven't been in 15 years. So I think if you're a Jets fan, if you're a player on that Jets roster, if you work for the Jets organization, you should be absolutely fired up that Aaron Glenn is your head coach, because he's fired up to be the head coach. He looks like someone who wants to win starting as soon as possible.
Yeah, not at the talent deficit of some of these other teams assigning new head coaches. Just got to get everybody rowing in the same direction. And then the crowd went mild. The Dallas Cowboys hitching their wagon to Brian Schottenheimer. The 51-year-old son of Marty Schottenheimer has been a member of the Dallas staff since 2022. A bungled timeline, leaving many to wonder, how did Jerry arrive at the decision? Thoughts from both.
I've had some opportunities when I was a much younger man that I didn't feel like I was ready. I'm ready now. I know what I want. I know what it looks like.
What I would say for the fans is that, yes, to some, and it might be couched as a less than glamorous hire. What I would say to you is I got here taking shots and not shoddy shots. I got here taking shots. Good things have happened. Let me tell you something. There's some stuff to be had over there where not many people go. There is.
Man, I don't know. We're talking about the head of the table here, and I want to be respectful to all parties, but Jerry Jones saying the quiet thing out loud that everyone's really thinking right now. It's the biggest mouth to feed, the most valuable franchise in American sports, and the last 24 months do feel like shoddy shots. Is it a big miss and big D, or do you think that Schottenheimer can be that steadying force needed?
Hey, Musso, he said he got here by taking shots. There might be some Cowboys fans who think he was taking actual shots on Friday night when he made this hire. You look at Jerry Jones, and what you want if you're a Cowboys fan, you wanted him to go into this press conference and reassure you about this hire, and he absolutely did not do that. I mean, when you come out and you say, hey, look, this is a huge risk, I'm well aware of that, that's not what you want to hear. The last time Jerry Jones hired a head coach with zero coaching experience, came in 2000 with Dave Campo. That one turned into a disaster and went 15-33 in 3 seasons. Now, the one thing I will say, although Jerry Jones was not very reassuring from a Cowboys standpoint, I was actually impressed with Brian Schottenheimer. I thought he came across as polished. This is a guy who has been around the NFL for 24 years now, obviously his whole life, because his dad is one of the best NFL coaches, was one of the best coaches in NFL history, but he's been around so long. He understands the game. He's been with 8 different teams. He knows what it's like to be in the NFL. So I was impressed with how he handled the press conference. Wasn't so impressed with Jerry Jones. So there was a different dynamic there. It was kind of 2 press conferences in one. But I give Brian Schottenheimer an A- here.
You take a look at these teams playing late into the season, and it's everybody doing all the same things effectively, from ownership to management to head coaches to players. It seems to be a disconnect. Whether or not the coach gets it right there are some other issues going on right now in Dallas. Meantime, in Vegas, the 73-year-old Pete Carroll appeared eager to get going for the Silver and Black. The new head man comes off a one-year hiatus. Carroll pledged to build the franchise around the quarterback position with heavy insight from former Super Bowl foe and now minority owner Tom Brady. Carroll, a national and Super Bowl champion, carrying 170 NFL victories into his new gig, 17th most all time.
We're starting right now, going for it immediately. We don't have some timeline. We got to make it 5 or 6 years down the road. That's not what we're thinking. We're going to start right now to go after it and build this team as quickly as we can. As John saw Max back there, Max, send a message, man. We're coming after you. We're going to come find you guys and get this thing rolling as soon as possible with the highest of expectations, with a mentality that we'll drive high performance in a way that hopefully everybody's going to hear us and they're going to know us. And so I'm really proud to take on that challenge.
Age is but a number. Liam Cohen going to get his first crack at being a head coach before his 40th birthday. Bridges certainly burned as Cohen went radio silent on the Bucs after agreeing to a beefed up salary to keep his offensive coordinator job in Tampa. But following the firing of Trent Baalke, Cohen doubled back to the Jags for their head coaching opening. Monday, some local flair.
This was an opportunity that you just can't pass up for so many different reasons. And you ultimately want to do truly what's best for you and your family. And that's what this came down to. I will always love and remember those guys in Tampa. My players, those guys, love them to death. But this is an opportunity to also go and do it with some new guys, right? And to go reach and touch people, because that's what coaching and teaching is. And that's what this opportunity is all about. And extremely thankful for that. But head forward, head and eyes up, and we're moving forward. Duval.
I think it's Duval. We'll get it right at some point. Liam Cohen being introduced there for Jacksonville. Breech, I'm going to go big picture here, open up the board for you. Who impressed you most, or what's the thing that you're walking away from thinking about after Monday's announcements?
Well, I'll say 3 things real quick, Joe. I'm going to start with Pete Carroll. He is 73 years old, and I think the huge advantage, and he brought it up in that press conference, is that he's not coaching to build something for down the road. He's not worried about 5 or 6 years down the road. He's not trying to win a Super Bowl age 80. He needs to win right now. So I think that's a key thing you want to hear if you're a Raiders fan, is that Pete Carroll, he wants to win a Super Bowl in 2025, 2026, 2027. He doesn't have time after that. So I think hearing Pete Carroll say that, and he looks awfully spry at 73, he is ready to take on that challenge. But I would say Brian Schottenheimer and Aaron Glenn were the 2 that impressed me most. I think Brian Schottenheimer was the most surprising. He went in there. He said the things you want to hear. He said, hey, look, why are we playing this game if you're not out trying to win championships? Because you had Jerry Jones and Stephen Jones kind of deflecting when you started talking about the 30-year drought and the team hasn't been to an NFC title game. Brian Schottenheimer did not deflect. He said, Dak Prescott's my quarterback. We're going to win Super Bowls with Dak Prescott. And then obviously Aaron Glenn, that is a guy any football player would want to play for. He is the guy. He's a true leader. And you could tell that from the opening statement when he went out there and made it very clear that he is thrilled to be with the New York Jets. So I think he is someone who is perfect to turn that organization around. And I won't be surprised if he does that quickly. So Brian Schottenheimer was my most surprising on a good note. Aaron Glenn, the guy I would run through a brick wall for.
Yeah, the Jets trying to glean some of that Detroit culture moving forward, certainly needed in that room. The news never stops, John Breech. We'll keep calling. All right, just look at that coaching carousel. The music getting very low and only one seat open in this high-stakes game of musical chairs. The Saints, after firing Dennis Allen, looking for their answer moving forward with more on that final opening. NFL insider Jonathan Jones.
So the attention for the New Orleans Saints now turns to Eagles offensive coordinator Kellen Moore. We know they've already interviewed Dolphins defensive coordinator Anthony Weaver and Giants offensive coordinator Mike Kafka. But Joe Brady informed them over the weekend, hey, thanks but no thanks. I'm going to be sticking with the Buffalo Bills. So you can check Aaron Glenn off the top of the list, going to the Jets. You can check Joe Brady off the list, staying with the Buffalo Bills. At some point midweek this week, the Saints are going to fly up to Philadelphia. They're going to interview Kellen Moore, and he may then become the future head coach of the Saints. I still would not rule out interim head coach Darren Rizzi, because he could still absolutely be in the mix. The last name you've heard, Mike McCarthy, former Cowboys and Packers head coach. No interview scheduled yet. We'll see if one does get scheduled. But again, I think a lot of this is going to depend on how well Kellen Moore interviews in person later this week in Philadelphia.